Hi, I'm Sarah Jameson, and I am owner of Firefly Fiber Arts Studio. We're an all-natural and sustainable yarn shop in the heart of Chicago. So today I am going to show you guys how to use our natural dye at home kit. So this is a kit that we made up so that you guys who are at home, spending more time at home, who have kids who might be interested, or you yourself are interested, can dye up your own skein of yarn. This is a slow process. It's called cold bath dyeing, and that's what I'm going to show you today. We have 3 different kits that you can choose from. We have Madder Red, Logwood Purple, or Weld Yellow. And these are what the kits come in. So you get your own jar. That way you don't have to use any of your cooking ware, and everything is contained in this jar. Let's get started. First, you'll take your kit and we're going to open it up. We're going to be using this jar to dye, and you'll have your yarn here. Now this yarn is pre-mortated, and what that means is that I've prepared it for you guys so you don't have to do the mortating process yourself. It's just ready to dye. If you're wondering what mortating means, basically that's where we prepare the fibers to accept the dye. And I do a cold mortar bath, and that takes between 3 to 10 days. So I've eliminated that step for you. All right, so we're gonna take out our yarn and we're just gonna set this aside. You don't need it right now. And then you can pull out, there'll be a card in here with written instructions. You can pull that out, and then you wanna keep your bag in. So all the dye materials come in these cotton tea bags. You'll want to keep this in the jar. Don't take it out. And you don't really want to handle it too much. Don't open it at all. It's all prepared for you. There's going to be dye stuff at the bottom of your jar. That's very normal. All right, so step 1, we need to prepare the dye. And you need to do this the night before you plan on dyeing. So you're going to boil some water. Which I have here, and you're going to want to fill it up. You don't have to fill it up all the way. You just want to fill it up a little bit to seep your dye. That's good. So now my bag can seep for at least 8 hours. All right, do not put the lid on it. You're just gonna let it cool on its own. And we're gonna set this aside. Again, this needs to seep for about 8 hours. These two, so this is logwood and this is weld, I seeped them yesterday, so I will show you how to dye with these two. The next step is you need to prepare your yarn. So get a bowl of water, your yarn. There we go. And you'll want to just soak it in a bowl of water. And just gently massage the water in. Wool is naturally water repellent, and we definitely want to soak our yarn. What that's going to do, it's going to open the fibers to accept the dye. Now you want this water to be lukewarm. You don't want it to be cold, too cold, so no ice water, and you don't want it to be hot. That will shock the yarn. All right, so we're gonna let this soak for about 10 to 20 minutes. So you can do this the day of. I'm gonna set this aside and let that soak. And I have another bowl of yarn that is all ready to go. Once you've let it soak for 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to take it out and just gently squeeze all the water out. There we go. I'll just set it aside. I'm gonna choose the logwood. Now, what we need to do first, before we do anything else, is we need to top it off. And I'm going to put the water line about here because when we put the put the yarn in, it's going to take up some room. So I'm going to put the water line about right here when I topped off. All right. It's a beautiful deep purple color. I'm very excited. Then I'm just going to take my yarn. See? That's what it looks like already. Just going to take my yarn and slowly put it in there. There you go. This dye is non-toxic, so you can stick your finger in there if you want. Close it up, and I'm going to let this sit between 1 to 7 days. It's dependent on each color, so go ahead and check it every day, see if you like it. The longer it sits in the dye bath, the deeper the color. So it'll be really fun to see how it's going to dye up in the next 1 to 7 days. I'm going to do the same thing with weld. So this is the yellow color, and I'm going to top it off about right here and then put the yarn in. All right, you can't smell it, but this weld actually smells a little bit like honey. It smells pretty good. So I've let this soak. I'm going to pull it out, gently squeeze out all the water. You know, always do this over your sink. It's just harder to show you guys that way. And I'm going to start dipping it in. This weld, once it soaks for a long time, will become a very bright yellow. All right. I'm going to seal that up. You're going to let your skein of yarn soak between 1 to 7 days. And you can just check it each day, pull it out of the water, see if you like the color. The longer it stays in the dye bath, the more deep color it will get. So go ahead and let it sit. You don't want to let it sit longer than 7 days. So 7 days is pretty much the max. After you let it soak, I'll be back. Be sure and watch this video because I'll show you guys how to finish the process. See you guys in about a week. Welcome back. If you're ready to take your skein out of your dye, then I'll show you the next steps. Here is my madder that I have dyed a skein in here. And just a little tip, as you're dyeing these, you can always give it a little shake. Here we go. And as you can see, the water is pretty clear. So that means that my dye bath has been exhausted. So most of the dye is on the yarn, which is really exciting. So we're going to take it out and see what it looks like. I got this bowl here. And then you're just going to take it, I like to fold it in half, and just gently squeeze. Squeeze all that water out. All right, so there it is. Now I like to take this and put it under the faucet for a little bit with cool water, just to rinse out any of the extra dye. And then I'm just going to hang it somewhere that is out of the sun and let it dry fully. I let this sit in the jar for about 3 days. And as you can see, my water is pretty exhausted. So you can see through it. Same with the weld. The weld is pretty exhausted. So I could probably get one more very light yellow, and this would probably be a very light pink if I put another skein in it. Here is my finished dried yellow. Here's my logwood. My logwood is still very dark, so I could probably get another couple skeins out of this, which is really exciting. So if you don't have any more skeins, but maybe you have a cotton t-shirt or some extra fabric or something you want to over dye, you can definitely try it out with these. Just make sure that it is washed with a very mild soap. And when you are done with your bath, you can just dump it out in the sink. There's no toxic chemicals in here. And then you have your dye stuff. You can open this up, dump out the dye stuff, and then just gently wash the bag and reuse it for anything you want. Well, that's it. It's pretty easy to use the kits and to dye your own fun colors. You can always try to mix them too if you want. You can use your old dye baths to make new colors, which is really exciting. So there's lots of possibilities there. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. You can also email us, Firefly Fiber Arts, and I'm happy to help. And thank you for watching. I really had a lot of fun doing this at home, and I hope you do too. See you guys later.